Today on the Star Trek Critic, Ensign Ro. With the passing of Gene Roddenberry, the writers jumped at the opportunity to have a recurring character that was a problem child. Gene Roddenberry believed the Star Trek cast should behave like the Brady Bunch, but everyone on the planets they went to were rotten. But the writers wanted everyone to be rotten. This episode starts with Captain Picard doing aggressive neck yoga. The first point is lost for a single set of doors on the turbo lift, and of course an extra always crosses when those doors open. Riker is 1 foot behind Picard like the little ass-kisser that he is. Another point lost for the reflection of a boom mic. Picard maneuver number 1. Then they discover there was a terrorist attack by the Bajora. Riker says, "This is worse than the narrator using an AI-generated voice." Another point lost since he is obviously not getting his hair cut. Another point lost since this is reused footage from Star Trek III. Either that or every planet has the exact same moon. 1 point lost for opening credits 6 minutes into the show. This might be the first time on Star Trek you see someone with a cold. This is foreshadowing, since the Admiral has his own agenda, and only bad people catch colds. And another point lost here. If you go to a military jail, you will never ever go back to the military. You get kicked out. In this episode, they are referred to as the Bajora, not Bajoran. That will come later. Picard is pissed. He knows something is up if a prisoner randomly gets out of jail and back to her original rank. And for some strange reason, Starfleet of the future does not allow religious items to be worn. They have evolved to atheistic little bastards that have no tolerance for the religions of the other planets that they've colonized. Or it could just be sexual tension since Riker has the hots for troublemakers. Riker says, "Check this out." Whenever the doors open, an extra goes by. Ro says, "Your insight is impressive, but I'm still not going to sleep with you." Riker reports the first baseman will not want to work with Ro Laren. Picard says, "I already placed bets with Mr. Mott that you two will hit the sack together by the end of this season." Ro comes in and complains that she was misnamed. Picard's like, "Well, at least I got your gender right. You look a lot like the daughter of Mr. Timmerson last year." Ro can sit down without moving the chair. That's talented. Ro says, "Let's get to the point. The only reason I'm here is because Wesley quit last year, and now the writers want a replacement character that causes a lot of trouble, and all the hot girls at the con quit because Riker kept hovering over them like a creepy old man." Riker is thinking, "Looks like that bet with Mr. Mott is going to pay off." In the meeting, Beverly says, "I have less than 5 lines in this show, and that's sexist, so -1 point. It's a nice reflection of her in the table, but she doesn't get paid anymore for that." Deanna says, "I have less than 5 lines too, and that's sexist, so -1 point. 1 point lost for having a brand new ensign fly the ship." Ro says, "I'm here because I know more than all of you. No wonder you always screw up first contact." And she trashes Beverly's dancing skills, and that's sexist too. The stars are moving here, and now they are not, so -1 point. When they beam down, they think, "Hey, isn't this the same valley they used in the last episode?" Picard says, "Yes, the producers are cheap, so rent the same land for several shows in a row, and they think the audience won't notice. That's also why Ro has more lines than the rest of you, since she has the cheapest contract." 1 point is lost for Ro's shirt, since a zipper just magically appeared. This episode really covers a lot of ground involving peoples who lose all their land and spend the rest of their lives as refugees, and touches on the fact that the big powers are cautious getting into other people's business, which is why Kiev is upset with the Federation. Of course, Admiral Kennelly is getting duped by the Cardassians, and when the big powers pick sides, they can fall too far down the rabbit hole, but my videos only touch on the cerebral parts of the show and pick out the errors instead. This is the first time the Bajorans are mentioned. According to this episode, it is implied that none of them are left on their planet. Worf says I-1, according to the stardate, only about 8 hours have passed, which isn't enough time, so -1 point. As usual, the camera follows an extra in 10 forward until the main cast arrives. Deanna and Beverly are both doctors with terrible bedside manner, so screw up with Ro, and the camera follows them to Geordi, who complains that he has less than 5 lines in the show, so -1 point. Guinan shows Ro she can sit down without moving the chair just like her, and Ro says, "Why are you dressed like the flying nun?" Then Guinan says, "Do you always buy drinks that match your uniform?" Ro quotes her favorite Who song. Ro talks to her boyfriend on her Tinder account. Seriously, she will do anything to get a date with an admiral. 1 point lost for a single set of doors on the turbolift. Riker says, "Captain, Did you notice whenever we walk into the transporter room an extra walks behind us? I'm sure there are spies on this ship. 1 point lost for Ro being able to beam down without anyone knowing. Riker wants to know what the hell is going on. 1 point lost for beaming down into a terrorist camp without a security team. Oh look, they got captured. I wonder how that happened. Orta says he didn't do it, and Picard is starting to realize that the Bajorans are too poor to be terrorists, and somebody else is wreaking havoc and claiming it is the Bajorans. Orta says it was the first baseman that is doing this. 1 point lost for waiting until they got back to the bridge to have this conversation. 1 point lost for grounding Ensign Ro on the bridge. That should have been discussed privately. Guinan goes to Ro's quarters to collect on her bar tab.
That's $2.
Ro gets taken to the principal's office. Picard says, her species never told us about the Borg for 75 years. Why should I believe anything she has to say? Ro admits to being undercover and that she has a screwed up past. Picard says, I can't get promoted until I get an admiral fired and take his place. Do you want to help? As usual, the one person on a secret mission is flying the ship, since the Enterprise has a crew of 1,000, but only 7 of them have jobs. Picard calls out the admiral on his social disease. Ro says, I number 2. Data says, I number 3. Ro says, I number 4. Now come the bad guys. Worf is never sorry to offend anyone. Now Picard is chatting with the Admiral on his Tinder account. This Admiral is a player. Picard calls the Admiral out on being stupid, but we never really know who the Bajoran terrorists really are. Kennelly gives Picard the order to be stupid in space. Rose says, I number 5, so it's time for a drink. Did the Cardassians know that the ship was unmanned? We will never know. Kennelly thinks it was the first baseman, but you finally learn that the terrorists are run by the left fielder.
The left fielder's name. Why?
It's highly unlikely an admiral will get court-martialed. He will probably be forced into retirement, and Picard will finally get that promotion he always wanted, since in reality it was Picard who staged the whole thing. Since the only way to get promoted in Starfleet is to stage a terrorist attack, then frame a sex-starved admiral who has been sexting with a female prisoner, who has been secretly working with Picard all along, obviously. Kennelly never watched Wild Things, and now he is unemployed. Before they leave the planet, Rose says, while we are here, can you get rid of that electric beast you were fighting last week? He's been attacking all the refugees. Ken Thorley will be back 2 more times. Harley Venton was the transporter operator. Jeff Hyenga will be back on Deep Space Nine and Enterprise. Frank Collison has 110 screen credits including Quantum Leap and Dr. Quinn, and will be back on Deep Space Nine. The late Scott Marlowe has 110 screen credits, including Wonder Woman, The Time Tunnel, and Valley of the Dolls. Cliff Potts has 70 screen credits to his name, including Silent Running, T.J. Hooker, and Baywatch. And Michelle Forbes will be back several more times, and then you will get to see her on Battlestar Galactica. Ensign Ro, the first problem child character on Star Trek, gets a score of 82. Thanks for viewing. Be sure to leave comments below, click that like button, the share button, and that subscribe button, and I will see you again next week.